Hey guys, Explorer of Horror here, HorrorBoy465. Welcome back to some more reviews. And today I'm doing my very first review of my brand new computer. I got it for Christmas, so I know it looks a little bit different, but it's because I got a brand new computer. This will be the first review I'll be shooting on this computer, and I figured I'd do a review on a very good film that I was very surprised by, that I'd seen very recently. I'm definitely picking up on DVD. And that is Pontypool, which came out in 2008, gets a 6.7 on IMDb. Written by Bruce McDonald, which, from what I've seen so far, from what I've read up, it seems like he does a lot of TV stuff that I don't really recognize. But as far as this film goes, did a really good job directing the film. And this is just one of those films that I was on Netflix, just browsing through, just sort of, looking around the horror movie section, stumbled across this film, read a little bit of the story, interested me. I seen that it got a very high rating, and I was like, okay. I watched it, and I was very surprised by it. I have to say, definitely a very surprising horror film. And if you haven't seen Pontypool yet, I definitely recommend you watch it and see it, because it's really good. Because I never really heard about this film. I don't think I've ever heard about this film before I seen it on Netflix, and and I was sort of thinking like, oh, well, it might be a decent horror film. And then I watched it, and it ended up being a really great horror film, because it took such a different and new and refreshing approach to an infected film, dealing with this virus and stuff. It was a very different idea, a very new approach, and I really appreciated that. I really liked the fact that they went a different route with the infection idea. And instead of it being from the point of view on the outside world, it's the point of view of these people in this radio station. And I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed how the infection spreads. It's a very different idea, which I'll get into here in a second. But yeah, Pontypool, it's very well made. I really enjoy it. If you haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend that you see it. But it's got a lot of stuff going for it. There's not a lot of practical effects, but when they are there, they're pretty good. I really enjoyed the cast. The characters are really interesting and really good characters. The acting was very well done. The score was decent. I don't really remember too much from the score, but it was decent. It wasn't bad. It was decent. The atmosphere was nailed. It was great. The intensity sometimes was nailed. And I just really enjoyed the fact that this is a very hard film to make, because the budget is very low. It cost about $1,500,000. It's a very low budget for a film. And it's very hard for an hour and 33 minutes to have it be set 100% at a radio station. Which I know sounds boring, but it's not. It actually goes by at a very fast pace. Great characters, great acting. And that's what's so hard about doing films that take place in one area. Films like The Thing and well, there was a film that kind of failed on that. A film called Devil. You see some sort of outside shots of the building, but in the film Devil, most of the film takes place in this elevator. But I'm not a fan of Devil. I thought it did a bad job at doing that. But films like The Thing, I gotta think first. I'll think of some more. But John Carpenter's The Thing. I think it took place at the base, all of the movie, but it had great characters, a really good atmosphere, really good special effects, and it had a lot of stuff going for it. Same here. It has some pretty good special effects when they are there. Very interesting characters and very good acting. And I think that when you make film that take place in one area for the whole film, it's very difficult to do that, because you've got to find ways to make it different. You got to find ways to make the story interesting and draw the audience in. And I thought the movie handled it very well. Most of the film, you don't see the outside world. You hear it through broadcasts. You hear it through reports. You hear the details, and they're grisly. And it's just a very creepy idea of these people. The virus pretty much spreads from getting stuck on this one word, and it ends up being an infected word. And if you get stuck on that one word, it drives you insane. You keep repeating the same word, and then eventually you start killing people. Very, very interesting and different idea for an infection film. And the film is pretty much about this radio station host, Grant, played by Stephen McHattie, who was also in 300, as well as many other films. And I thought he did a really good job in this film. You also got Lisa Hall and Georgina Riley as Sydney and Laurel. Did really good jobs playing those characters. Sydney is Grant's agent, and Laurel is sort of the assistant there helping out. And Grant was coming to the radio station. Actually, one of the very few times you actually see the outside is when Grant is driving to the radio station, and he sees this girl on the side of the road, and she sort of walks up to his car. And of course, he drives off. He doesn't really know what to think about that. And Grant is sort of this radio station host, no holds barred, says what he wants to say. Very interesting character. And he's giving these daily reports talking about, just your typical stuff. And then all of a sudden, these reports come in from, news places, from hospitals and stuff. These riots are going on. And I like how it slowly builds up to that moment where they start realizing that something is very wrong. They get phone calls of people saying that these people are starting to chant weird things and they're tearing people to pieces. There's actually a report from the helicopter guy, and he ends up getting chased. And you hear the details and how this one person broke all of their bones just to get to this person, and they can't even move. And he describes it, and it's not, you don't see it, but it's all done through like audio and just hearing the story. And of course, Grant and the other characters have tried to figure out, how to do their job, how to report this, how to broadcast this. And of course, the BBC calls in and says, "Is this real?" And the Grant character's like, "I don't know." Pretty much, they don't know what's going on. And as the film goes along, a doctor ends up coming into the building, telling them about this virus, and then they end up going a little bit crazy. They're not really sure what's going on. They're trying to do their jobs. They're trying to pull together as a team and trying to remain sane, but you can tell they're kind of losing it as the film goes on. And it's just a slow buildup of these infected people. They start attacking the radio station, and you find out that the broadcast has actually infected the people. The broadcast that was from Grant started infecting people. So Grant and another characters, they start, speaking in French because they realize the English language is infected. So they start speaking in French. The Laurel character gets infected, and she starts like really creepy scene where she's like banging her head against the glass, and then she just like spits out blood, and then she dies. Very well done effects in that scene. And at the end of the film, the doctor ends up getting infected. Then pretty much Grant and City, they're the only characters left. Grant pretty much says, they're going to go out in a blaze of glory. He gets on the radio. He does his broadcast, does these opposite sentences so that they don't infect, basically to cancel out the infected sentences and the infected words. And pretty much saves the rest of the world. He ends up stopping the broadcast, the infected words and stuff like that, and goes out in a blaze of glory. And you also hear this countdown of the military that's there, getting ready to drop this bomb, and as it counts on the, from 10 to 1, it goes like, 10, 9, 8. And then when it finally reaches 0, Grant and Cindy, they kiss, and then the movie, you hear a bomb go off, and the movie ends. So it's not really a bummer ending. It was sort of like a, if they're going to go down, they're going to save the world, and they're going to die, they're going to go out in a blaze of glory, pretty much. So I really enjoyed that ending where Grant gets on there and he cusses out the military. He's like, "You're going to kill innocent people. Don't do this." And he starts saying these sentences, and he's like, "I'm going to freaking save these people," and stuff like that. He just, really good ending where, he saves pretty much the world. He stops the infected broadcast so that the rest of the world isn't infected, and goes out in a blaze of glory. So, very well done ending. It's not depressing. It's more of like, if he's going down, he's going to save the world, and he's going to go out in a blaze of glory sort of ending. But just Pontypool has really good acting, really good characters, really good atmosphere, really good pacing. Goes by very fast. Decent score, decent effects. Really enjoy the different idea of this infection. Just a film that I feel was very, very well made. Really enjoyed Pontypool. But anyways, guys, I know this is a very short review. Usually my review is about 15 minutes, but that's all I pretty much got to say about Pontypool. It's a really well-made film. If you haven't seen it yet, I definitely recommend that you see Pontypool. And yeah, so thanks for watching my review on Pontypool, and I'll see you guys on the next review. Bye, guys.